to lead us into our discussion.
Sorry. There you go.
Okay. Again, I'd like to just say good evening to everyone. This is GC in Philly. And today, is what, May the 5th, 2025. And again, I'm honored just to, be in the presence of my family, spiritual family, and just like to appreciate, our discussion this evening. I think yesterday, we had, an opportunity to, really appreciate Pastor asking us to revisit Psalm chapter 8. And in doing that, I think we had some good discussion with regards to the importance of what the psalm represents when we talk about praise, when we talk about prayer. And in the Psalms, there's various writers of the song, whether it was David or whether it was Asaph and others. But more importantly, I think the Psalm 8 gave us a great appreciation in terms of God being able to talk about the majestic or the majesty of how excellent is thy name. And when I say thy name, his name, I think that it also refers to who we are. And I think one of the point of emphasis that I like to probably share more than anything else is being able to appreciate the love and respect that we have for the creator within. And in that thought, that's where it all begins. And I think that, in our sometimes looking for answers, we look at things from the eternal, from the external point of view in terms of our perceptions, but it all starts within. And I think that gave me some great appreciation to really appreciate who I am, but more importantly, the love and respect for the creator that I am. So with that in mind, we also, discuss some other point of emphasis in reference to us truly knowing ourselves. And I really appreciate the conversation yesterday because sometimes in the scriptures, as we mentioned yesterday, there's the linguistic of the scriptures. And in some of those situations, there's things that has a deeper meaning or purpose, or it may be something that needs to be corrected. And I believe yesterday, Pastor was able to get on the call and kind of gave us more of a overview and an appreciation for words that may um, mean something different or should not be in that particular scripture. But more importantly, it was just an opportunity for me to truly have a better appreciation that we can all be in synchronicity, that we all can be, in oneness in reference to our journey. So again, let me just start out by just saying, are there any questions or any comments that anyone have with regards to yesterday's spiritual session? Anyone?
This is Vermel. Um, Yesterday's question that Evelyn had about the word little lower really sparked my interest, and it was interesting hearing her thoughts on it and Sage's too. So I went and I looked up the word lower, and it also means to descend, and it also means to be situated on less high land or towards the sea. So when I looked at um verse 5, lower, and it says a little lower than angels, could it also mean just like a directional, not so much um a level of authority, but more you're in this physical world, which could be perceived as lower than being in the totally, even though we're spirit, in the heavenly realm. Could it also have denoted that?
Um,
Uh,
I'm the one who's Go ahead, George.
No, Pastor, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Good evening.
Afternoon. Evening.
Um, I'm, yesterday, I'm the one who was made the statement that it was Lord, you Lord yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about the scriptures, excuse me, we're talking about spiritual things
Okay.
as opposed to material or physical. So when you say Lord,
Okay.
you Lord yourself, you descended below Elohim, meaning that the whole time that we have been on this earth in terms of our Christianity, caught up in Christianity, religion, etc. What we've done is actually lowered ourselves beneath where we're supposed to be, and that is going
Okay.
via Elohim.
Okay.
So that's what it's actually talking about.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarity. That helps. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
And lowering yourself is a little different than descending. Anyway. Uh, yes, the words can be used interchangeably, but uh, you descend when you reach down to pick up a baby. Doesn't mean you lowered yourself. Uh, Lowering yourself is something totally different. That's more of a spiritual thing. So. Uh, I think the words can be used interchangeably, but they mean something different when you look at it in this perspective, looking at it from a spiritual perspective, excuse me.
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, with that said, I think was important is that again, yesterday, what we wanted to do was just again review Psalms 8, but more importantly, did any revelation come to you about what you read? Uh, it empowered me by reading it over again because the first time I read it, I just felt, a certain way that I was going back. But then as I reread it, it really helped me to appreciate the power that we have, and at the same time, the power of God's word.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, the major point of emphasis for me is to not only know myself, but to appreciate the love and respect, as I mentioned earlier, that I have for me being the creator that I am, and to know that I'm having this human experience. And I think Pastor mentioned that we initially are spirit beings, you know, and we put on these physical bodies. So it's not that the spirit lives in the body, it's the body, that, is a part of this spiritual connection where that's first and foremost. So to have a greater appreciation and love for myself and respect for myself, it really gives me a much more, spiritual insight to know that I am. So I just wanted to, just share that particular point of emphasis because I think that really resonated with me strongly. And I appreciate you guys letting me share that. But that was the whole point, Ron,
Mhm.
for us to look at Psalms 8, just as a means of reviewing. And from there, we kind of went over that. And there were some other things that we talked about. But again, I know music was something that was on your mind when we talk, but at the same time, again, I'm gonna make the pass to you, Ron.
Well, I gotta thank you, George. I got a little excited the other night. I was working helping a friend. I was helping Craig move y'all, and that took a little longer than expected, but most of it is done anyway. But I came home Saturday evening and tried to listen to the lesson, and I listened to about 10, 15 minutes of it, and I woke up and it was over. But the part I heard was really put me on a on a journey here, and I thought it was beautiful. I think it was Vermeil that asked the question about verse 2, and then George and Audrey answered, and I loved Audrey's answer about the infant and the, you know, the mother and the baby, and that's the part I wanted to go to, and and then I think or somebody else came back and asked about music, and that's when I got excited about this. So when George and I were talking Sunday morning, I just and I'm hoping I can remember see all this. Uh, I remember some time ago watching ETV, and I saw this musician on there, and this guy was a jazz legend and pretty infamous, I guess, but I had never heard of him. You know, a really old guy. Uh, and I had never heard of him, but he was so renowned that people, while he was on his tour, he was on a tour like most musicians do, but he stopped in different clubs, different famous clubs, and he played. And you had people coming off from all over Europe and even people coming from all over the world to play with this guy. So, you know, he go to this club, that club, and these people would show up and play with him. And so they were playing one night, and this guy who he hadn't seen in years hit, you know, when it goes in, they start off with a familiar song, and then it takes a life of its own. So they're playing a song that none of them have ever heard, and they're making it up as they go, and the audience can't tell this thing is flying, and it's so smooth. And this guy said that the friend of his hit a note they weren't used to, went in a direction they weren't used to, but they all followed him. They all went with him, and he talked about the harmony of it. And he said at first, you know, he didn't think the audience could catch what happened because it kind of caught him off guard, but it happened so smooth they caught up. And I thought about that thing, and how he said, whoever is leading the solo leads the band, and everybody else follows whoever's leading the solo. So if I'm making up something, you got to catch me and you got to stay with me. And I thought about that, how smooth that is. So you think about we've made the word submissiveness to be something negative. And that's because of how in this country our treatment of women. And we look at something as being submissive. But in this regard, you were both submissive and strong. You became submissive and strong, and the harmony was there. And that, so I stopped there for a minute, and I'm looking at these verses, and it even taught when Audrey brought up the nursing, it says infants and nursing babies. In other words, the infants and the nursing babies are the leaders of the orchestra, and you got to catch up with them. You got to be submissive and you got to be strong. So he says, from the mouths of infants, and you have established strength. In other words, this is a harmony. This is a give and take. This is an in and out. This is a constantly reaching back. This is a constantly pulling and holding each other up. This is a constant struggle for balance. The mother and the baby are in harmony together, and the mother is both strong and she is submissive, just like the band. It is the same type of energy. So when he says this, I look at us and look at what this group is doing. We have become submissive, and we are also the strength of what goes on in the universe. We are in harmony without ever talking to the people in a Kabbalah. Look at all the stuff going on in Africa right now. But we're in a give and take with them. This thing is turned into something. Uh, I'm trying to think as I go here and not forget anything because I had a lot on my head when I heard this. Um, and we want to look at the politicians and all of this stuff is being the adversary. The adversary and the enemy is when you move to a point where you say, I want to be the soloist. I want to be the leader. I want to do this. I want to do it. I don't want to be mom anymore. I'm tired of this crying baby. Whenever you cannot control those thoughts, whenever you cannot control those emotions, but as long as you can, because I thought about this thing, those negative thoughts that come in, those negative thoughts are necessary. They keep us in harmony. They keep us in balance. So not only is this a huge universal thing, and we're in harmony with a cable on, we're in harmony with listening to the babes in Washington. We're in harmony with listening to all the politics and stuff, and being responsible for all of that. We're also responsible for the noise that's in us. And all of it is about balance. And all of it is give and take. And all of it is maintaining harmony. So you become the strength and you become the submissive part that holds it all together. So when I saw that, even that third verse talks about when it says, when I consider heaven the works of your fingers, the fingers, I thought about someone playing a keyboard. I thought about someone playing an instrument. It's talking about harmony. And I didn't see that till I heard part of that conversation the other night. You guys were talking, and I didn't hear the rest of it because, like I say, I fell asleep. But I heard enough of it that this all kind of made sense to me when I got up the next morning and looked at it again. But any questions, or does that make sense? Or I hope it makes sense.
It did, man. It made a
It
lot of sense.
did. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I see. I look at this as music
Excuse me.
and
I'm sorry.
the role that you play, that we play in this band, in this orchestra. It looks as though it's all in harmony, but it is work. It is work holding this thing, and it's work holding the balance and bringing it all together. And it's a beautiful thing. It speaks to the universe and it speaks to us individually.
What I saw when you were saying that about the harmony, I see that in, excuse me, I see that in our teaching, the way the way we do things. I see that the harmony there, because when someone is speaking, they are the ones, as you said, lead in the band, and those who raise questions about it are searching for the way to become one with it, with what's being said. So I can actually see that through our discussions and stuff, and the harmony comes when we are able to respond to the question and it resonates, and that resonance is the harmony that we are searching for. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I think we're at a place or at a thing or doing a thing that we have been searching for, and there was no sign up to say you've arrived, and it's not arrived like you can stop the journey, but it is pointing to us and saying, this is what you have been searching for, and this is uh, kind of a measurement of your journey and what you've been asking for. All the things in the land that you see is not all chaos. It is agitation that needs to take place so that it can be uh, positively handled, that the energy can be directed in the way that it should go. So do not be alarmed. Do not be alarmed with the agitation that sometimes comes up in you and the impatientness. Know that you are at the place where you're supposed to be. Rely on each other. Rely on the vibrations that you feel inside of you, and you know, whatever it takes to keep you in harmony, do that. Whether it's cut the television off, whether it's call someone, whether it's the journal, whether it's to meditate, whatever it is, uh, stay the course. Stay the course.
Well, I see the harmony also in what's happening around the world. You mentioned what's happening in Africa earlier. It's as I read, I actually watching videos and reading about Burkina Faso. Don't know why, but I'm always getting these messages, and it's almost like a hunger. I feel like that is indicative of the new beginning. When we look at beginning, as we've been talking about going back to beginning constantly, I see this movement, not only Burkina Faso, but also Mali and one other, it's 3 countries, but anyway, I see this as the new beginning. Why do I see it like that? Because the beginning was in Africa, and the new beginning is also there. And I do believe that our spiritual desires have fueled it, has been the fuel for it to come to where it is. And I also think that it is important, at least as far as I see that is taking place in West Africa, because that is the place where we were taken from and brought to this country. That was the place. That is the place that has been robbed and raped by European greed. And now, here we are. The people from whom we descended are now in a position to take back what belonged all along. And as long as we stay the course and continuously be who we are, understanding that origins are in a Kabbalah, and I think that I would prefer to use the word Kabbalah in Africa, and that's a story for another day. But because a Kabbalah is the foundation of everything, and I do believe that the governmental structures that have been put in place in those areas are the structures that are going to be in place in the world, not because we are better than anybody. It's simply because that's where everything started, and the type of the beginning of it, and what made me, one of the things that made it click with me is that no one owns the land, and the first objective was to start people to form and give them the equipment and giving the land back to them that was taken away from them, and for the express purpose of bringing people back to a place with the land where they will be one with the land, where will be one with nature. We've talked about that, and this aspect of it is very important. I think for us to make a connection with in terms of the way we teach and the way we view the world itself. I say to you don't pay any attention to what's happening now in terms of this administration, this government. It's going to do what it's going to do. That's it. And I say to you, if you can't keep your eyes off of it, then find something else to read or to take your attention, so that you won't have to feel like everything is going to hell in a handbasket. It's not. Everything is being reordered. When we have a new beginning, in the beginning everything was ordered, and that discontentment, that destruction brought about disorder. So now everything is being ordered, and the order of things is beginning there on the in the cable line. I'm done. If there are any questions or comments, does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
It does,
Yes, it
yes.
makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there questions about it? Suppose that, suppose, someone speaking?
Right.
Hello? Is someone speaking? Suppose that we, well, let me leave the supposition on. We are here in the belly of greed. The leadership in our in colonizing the earth and controlling it and controlling the resources of it. And what are we seeing? We are saying that this current leader is crazy because he's isolating America from the rest of the world. We're saying he's crazy because of the tariffs. The whole economic system is being broken worldwide. This is a part of the reordering of things. This is a part of decolonizing this country called America. This is the beginning of decolonization of the world. And the Great Britain was the imperialist, and America was more of a colonizer. And now here we are. We're seeing the decolonization of a cable line, and it is because of the energy in this country. So the Creator brought us here for a reason, and the reason was to bring balance and order to the world. When we came to realize who we are, and stop looking at ourselves as mere men. Questions, comments? I'm done.
This is Audrey. I have a quick question. I was reading the other day about Trump's Africa specialist, whatever, I don't know his title. But anyway, he went out to the Republic of Congo, to Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. And all the Great Lakes countries. And I just kind of, it made me wonder, what exactly is their agenda? Because it's not often that envoys are sent to those countries. I'm sure it's probably them trying to make a deal regarding whatever resources or whatever. But I just think it is interesting that they're trying to do that. Anyway, what are your thoughts about that, Pastor?
They also sent a Marine general to the Ivory Coast. And he went to the Ivory Coast just before the coup attempt against Abraham. What do I think about that? What they are doing now, when the president of Burkina Faso ran the French out, and when he decided that the French were no longer going to have any control over the country, especially the gold, and when Russia sent troops in to protect him from that coup attempt, That's when America, France, and England and Britain sent envoys to the African countries that they have in their pockets currently. And what they are trying to do is find the people within these countries who are in league with change, and they are making every attempt to create chaos, not only in the countries that they're visiting, well, to keep them chaotic because they're already there, and they're seeking out people who will serve as insurgents into Burkina Faso as well as Mali and the other country that he joined forces with. The general in the Ivory Coast is there because he said that we have to go and free the people of Burkina Faso from this dictator. So that's why he's there. And the belief is that these envoys are the ones who are front men for chaos at the hands of the CIA. And the general is there to not only foment a coup, but also to make sure that no other countries in West Africa join forces with Burkina Faso. And that's not a speculation. That is real.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
All of this is being done under the table, and the news people are not going to talk about it. News media is not going to deal with this. Because what's happening is Africa, the youth in Africa are saying no more. Look at what happened when the South Africans said that we are going to reclaim the land. Well, during the period of land reclamation, what happened? Trump said that he would not go to South Africa for the IMF meeting, and he also made an effort through Elon Musk to bring white South Africans into America because they were being racist policies were being passed to take their land. So this idea of land reclamation is all over West Africa and Central Africa with the kids, or with the young people, not with the leadership. And they are in the process of changing leadership. So the West is shaking in their boots because they know that this is different. This is different than what happened in 1960 or in the 60s when they killed Patrice Lumumba, when they overthrew Nkrumah when he was out of the country. They know that this is different. This movement is different because all they had then was a voice and a flag, and it was easy to assassinate them and to overthrow them. But now the difference is that the people are saying, take your hand, don't touch our president, you will regret it, etc. And also saying, you cannot stop this because our ancestors are involved in our reclaiming what rightfully belongs to us. So it's a huge movement that's beneath the surface that's taking place. I'm done. Is there questions, comments? Oh, and you may ask the question, what does this have to do with the scriptures? It has everything in the world to do with the scriptures. It has everything in the world to do with the Creator. Because the Creator did not at any moment desire for us to be put through what we were put through, meaning that the greed and the murderous nature of that European mindset put us in a place of begging. And let me add this. I said something the other week about AID being the CIA front. I cannot name a country in Africa or anywhere in the world really, where education has improved and healthcare has improved as a result of AID being in that country. AID simply keeps the eye on things to make sure that the people stay in a state of slavery, and they give just enough to say that they are a charitable organization. So this, what's happening with this foreign policy in the government, the ancestors are pulling all this apart for the purpose of giving the inhabitants of Akebalon the space that's necessary in order to reclaim the land and to reclaim the culture. And that's a big thing, the reclamation of the culture. So anyway, I'm done. Did that help you, Audrey?
Yes. Yeah, but I will say that I've seen programs through USAID that have helped people, but it hasn't been totally taken on ownership by the government, by those countries' governments, or facilitated in terms of sustainability with USAID. But in the short term, I've seen programs really make a difference. But yeah, you're right. In the long term, a lot of things, countries aren't quite where they should be in terms of what we were doing over there.
Right. Thank you. Ron, George?
Just listening to what you were saying, and you're talking about the history of Akebalon and what the governments being overthrown and whatnot, and the youth and the youth's resiliency that they're operating under, and their reliance on the ancestors and those relationships, and this is a different mindset. And I was looking at verse 4 here, and I was wondering, is verse 4 talking about a mindset that I think this whole thing, and I can't explain it all, like the
Ron, would you read that, please? I don't have anything with me. I'm still at the hospital.
okay, verse 4 says, "What is man that you take thought of him, and the Son of Man
Okay.
you care for him?" Because see, we've been taught that every time we see the Son of Man, it's talking about Jesus. It is not
Right.
talking about Jesus. It is talking about, I think anyway, the spirituality, or a recognition or an awakening, and recognizing that you are deliverance, or that you are a lot more than you have been labeled, and to wake up and see yourself, the awakened man, uh, is what I think it describes. In the previous verse up there, where it talks about the moon and the stars you have ordained, I go back to the orchestra thing. We this is the universe, and this is, although we sit in our own homes and we have our own little environments here, we are part of something so much bigger that we don't recognize it. It's like the ant that lives on beneath the blade of grass that's right outside my door or something. He has no idea how vast South Carolina is, let alone the whole earth. So that's just giving us reference to understanding who and what we are, and where where this thing is in us being our spiritual awareness of who we are, how vast that is. So anyway.
Let me speak to the reason I said that Cape Town instead of Africa. We all know that there is power in words, right?
Right.
So when we say Africa, there's no power in that word at all. But when we say Kavalon, not only do we receive energy from that word, but that word also is a guiding force as we travel this journey for peace and harmony. Thank you. George?
Were you going to say something, George?
No,
Yes.
go ahead, RG. You got it.
Oh, I was looking at verse 4 and what I think though is, it says, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou dost care for him? To me, that brings up the fact that man, the man that you created in the beginning, it's asking the creator, you created this man in the beginning, and you are very mindful of him, and the Son of Man. To me, that says, even though you created this man in the beginning, you haven't forsaken them. You've given them all power and glory in the generations that follow the beginning. So I think it's telling us that no matter what we had to go through, this crowning of honor and glory still applies to us, even though we don't believe it ourselves, but it still applies to us because we are the son of that, we are the sons and daughters of that beginning man that the Creator created. So down through the generations, he's still giving us glory and honor, and it's going to keep going and keep going for as long as man exists. And it's up to us not to forget it and to believe it. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I think that verse is saying.
Can I add something?
Also,
Go ahead, Pastor. I'm sorry.
no, it's just 1 second. There were, in the Aramaic, Son of Man is translated as human. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to add, at least I hope I'm adding to it. The point, one of the points I was trying to make at the beginning, talking about the orchestra, when the play is in harmony, it matters not to the one receiving the vibration who is leading and who is at the end. You are all a part, or even the listener who does not have an instrument is part of the orchestra, and you are in harmony with that. Just like when the baby cries, you may have 10 mothers there, but the mother who hears her baby knows that cry, and there is no separation. The baby becomes the mother, and the mother becomes the baby. It is only harmony. So what am I saying? I'm saying when we recognize ourselves as the Son of Man and we reach that awakening, that's when we recognize that we are the creator and the creator is us. We are the one that was created and we are the creator. And there is only harmony, and there is nothing that can break that bridge. And everybody benefits from it who desires that harmony. So yeah, I agree. I like your assessment of it. I can see everything that you said.
Yeah, and Ron, I appreciate what you said in Audrey, because as I was trying to express earlier, you know, the first cosmic law, talks about, the importance of the love and respect for the creator within.
Mhm.
And we are the creators having the human experience. And so, as Audrey mentioned, in terms of just the respect and honor that we have for one another, or we should have for one another, in terms of being able to look at how does harmony manifests itself, where we can see it in the now. So what harmony says, in Mayat, it says harmony, the state of being in which different expressions of Mother Nature's, the God, the goddesses, Mother Nature's spirit, humans, animals, plants, etc., move together in ways that create alignment and beauty. So I was thinking about the stars, in Psalms 8 and just other aspects of the scripture, but it says each expression must be authentic and express fully all that it is created to be. And it's only through authenticity that harmony can truly be achieved, and can occur naturally when each entity is being true to itself, to its spiritual reality. And so when you talked about music, it just made me think about the piano when you were talking about instruments, in terms of you got the white keys, you got the black keys, you have notes, you got chords, and it just made me, really appreciate how majestic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am the universe, we are the universe, and the universe is us. So it's just all just gave me a deeper appreciation in terms of, again, receiving it in terms of this new beginning. And when we talk about new beginning, it talks about the self-empowerment of right living, or looking at it in terms of righteousness. So this is a very, awesome time we're living in, because I think we're seeing it and we're feeling it, we're experiencing it through frequencies, through vibrations. And that's the thing about music, and again, I don't know if Rainier is on, uh, but I think that when you talk about the six tones, in terms of music, and again, back in the day, I used to play the guitar, right? And I'm just saying, it says every good boy does fine always, but it's tones. And when we were talking about there's frequencies that, again, I can relate to, in terms of when it talks about, again, harmony. And so when we talk about harmony, again, as I said, it's just much that I'm receiving in my spirit. And again, I just can't, get it out exactly the way I want, but I know that there's energy. Energy flows as our attention goes. And I think that we're receiving very, very strongly, God's creations are manifesting. I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead, Ron.
No, you reminded me of something that was when I was looking at the thing the other day and talking about the music. That was one of the key things. Rainier said something that I had not thought about before, but it made all the sense in the world. She said, we think about God, we talk about God and the multifaceted parts of God, or Elohim, or have whatever name you want to, we're comfortable with. Uh, and we look at the vastness of that. And what about us? We never think of how complicated we are made, and how many layers of us, and the persona of man. It's not just one thing, Ron, or just not one voice. And when all of that comes into harmony, talk about vibrations and music, when all of that comes into harmony, and you are no longer your enemy, you're no longer your adversary, and you become that what is needed in the universe. How harmonious will that be? But it first starts with you. So that was one of the things that got my attention.
I think you just described that glory and honor,
Okay.
Ron.
Okay, keep going, if you don't
Yeah, I
mind.
agree with that.
No, all the things you said that we are,
Yeah.
all the many facets, all the things that we're capable of, you know, when we're in the right mindset.
Yeah,
That's the glory and the honor that we are endowed with.
yeah, I like that.
And that's the balance.
Yes.
All those different facets, when we bring them together, and we are able to understand not only the different facets of our lives, even if we don't understand them. Once we embrace all of that, that's balance. And if we're not balanced, then who can we bring balance to, right?
Correct.
I'm done, guys.
Any other observations, guys, in Psalm 8? Any comments?
I wanted to ask about verse, let's see, what verse is that? Verse 6. When it says, thou hast given him dominion of the works of thy hands, thou hast put all things under his feet. But I was looking up what hands meant and what feet meant. And it said that hands encompass all the spiritual things. And then feet means all the earthly things. So it's like as above, so below. So you're able to do all the spiritual things. And you're able to have dominion over all the earthly things too. So I'm wondering if that is what that means. That's my question.
Huh? But who's speaking?
Look up dominion, Audrey, or rule.
Audrey.
From what you looked,
No,
what
I
you
didn't.
found, Audrey. Go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I
Go
was
ahead.
just
Okay.
going to ask Ron what he said.
No, I asked you that. I was asking, did you look up dominion? It talks about to govern something.
I didn't. I was focusing on what the hands and the feet meant.
Yeah, I like that. I did not look that up, and I like what you read though. That speaks to our capabilities as when you say what is man, the multiple parts of us. There is nothing that you should not be able to adjust to or awaken to. There's nothing that should be able to overtake you. Wow, I like that. That's powerful.
I do too. I like that because when it's talking about governance and spiritual things that He has given us dominion over, we govern those things. So we govern the spiritual as well as the material world, and that tells me that this verse is telling us that you have the authority to bring order to this earth.
Yes.
You have the authority to do that.
Shay.
And you do that by the power of your spiritual essence. So that speaks volumes about not only who we are. Matter of fact, it goes far beyond who we are. It speaks to the authority and power that we have, and there is no reason for us to fear anything, because if the Creator has given us the authority over what happens spiritually in this earth and what happens physically in this earth, then why would we fear when we have all the power? There's nothing to fear, because everything that's antithetical to the dominion that's been given, it actually is an illusion, and we can change that in the twinkling of an eye. I think what you just said, Audrey, is one of the most powerful things that we have looked at, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it resonated deeply with me. I think you just burst something, young lady.
That goes back to the glory and honor that we've been endowed with.
Yes.
Yes.
If we could only believe it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
That, and I'm saying, believe it. I'm gonna do my best to refrain from saying like, I wish you would believe it. I wish you would hold on to it. I'm going to talk like you already have it. Why? Because Ashe also means I create with words.
So
Okay.
then are we saying
So-
we need to trust it?
No, you need not only trust it, you can trust it in your mind, but are you acting it out in your everyday life? But that's the definition of what Audrey gave for feet is this physical world too. So in this, your interactions in this physical world determines how committed you are to spirituality, or whether you really know who you are. Does that make sense?
It does.
Hello.
It does.
Yes.
Okay.
So then if harmony relates to everything being authentically what it was designed to be, a rock was designed to be a rock, and it has its place, it has its function. We are designed to be creators and to have authority in heaven and over spiritual and earthly things. And so that's when we absolutely know we're in balance. When we I want to say walk in that, but that's too tepid. When we be that.
Yeah.
Not only when we believe that, but when we be that. Because if you believe something, you will make it a part of your being, and you will think, speak, and act in that being. So the true harmony and the true balance is when we do what it is we were designed to do in this earthly terrain.
I like that. Thank you. Sometimes it really hits me when we on the line and we're talking, and you ever get off the phone and you feel energized, you feel recharged. So like every time we talk about this, there's something else that is revealed.
You guys keep talking. I gotta go. Okay.
Okay. Well, are we done? Anybody? Questions, comments? Is there anything else that you have thought of that may have grabbed your attention? Okay. This was an awesome discussion. Thank you. No need to stay if we don't have anything else then. So I hope everybody have a great week.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.